gostje in sodelujoči. To je bilo vse, kar sem mislil v slovenščini povedati, zdaj pa bomo priklopili na angleščino, ki je načeloma delovni jezik našega posveta. So hello, everybody. I'd like to greet you at today's AHA, and we are honored to meet also His Excellency, the Italian Ambassador. Hello, thank you very much for attending today's event. We would like to open the stage to the presentation of good practices about the accommodation of asylum seekers and integration of refugees in municipalities. There are some good practices from countries that are encountering these challenges that Slovenia is faced with now for some time already, and this is primarily Italy and Germany, and that's why we have decided to open today this debate and try to learn something from each other, and especially to learn Slovenia who is faced with these challenges now. My name is Marko Peterlin, and I come from Institute for Spatial Policies, and I would like now to give just a few words to co-organizers of this conference. Jasmina Vidmar from Association of Municipalities of Slovenia, and Francis Latar from Slovenska Filantropija. Jasmina.
Hello, I'm coming from Association of Municipalities and Towns of Slovenia. Our association was strongly connected and involved with municipalities and reacted to different problems encountered when first refugees came to Slovenia. The process of arriving of asylum seekers in Slovenia won't stop, so we believe that we have to help municipalities to adapt to this new situation and prepare for it. As association, we really want to hear what our counterpart in Italy is doing, because we want to help municipalities in this field. We also, I would say that we believe that the process of accommodation and integration of asylum seekers we will require that municipalities are actively involved in this process, because without this active involvement of the municipalities, the peaceful, tolerant and inclusive integration won't be possible. You know that a lot of especially when for the purposes of daily politics, some are spreading the fear and distrust of asylum seekers. So as a result, today's event has special values for us because it will show that integration is possible, that can help to be successful, and can bring a new quality to the local communities. Therefore, I look forward to hear the presentations of today's guests.
Okay. Hello to everybody, and thank you also for inviting us to this event. So actually, Slovene philanthropy has been involved in providing different kinds of activities with and for refugees since 19th. Among others, we were providing integration support. To those activities, we soon realized that for integration, for real integration of refugees, it's really bad if refugees are living in big shelters, in big centers, and they don't have possibility to normal life. So in theory, integration should be a dynamic two-way process. immigrants and receiving societies should have opportunity to live together. From this perspective, local integration and strong involvement of local communities in providing different kinds of integration and support for immigrants is crucial. We strongly supporting all the efforts to establish better and more comprehensive integration policy in Slovenia, where also local communities will have a crucial role. We also believe that through this today's presentation of good practices from Italy and Germany, we could get some idea how to establish this policy in Slovenia. So I wish you a good discussion.
Thank you very much. I would now like to give a word to State Secretary from the Ministry of Interior, and switch back to Slovene and ask our colleague to catch up with
Hvala lepa. Spoštovani organizatorji, predstavniki Inštituta slovenske filantropije, skupnosti občin Slovenije, spoštovani gostje. Že uvodoma bi se želel zahvaliti za povabilo na današnjo konferenco. Sem iskreno počaščen in hkrati tudi vesel. Zato sem praktično brez pomisleka se odzval vašemu povabilu na ta mednarodni posvet o nastanitvi prosilcev za mednarodno zaščito, integraciji beguncev in predstavitvi predvsem dobrih praks iz Italije in Nemčije.
So hello to everyone, to organizations, to organizers of the event, to all the guests, to Slovene Philanthropy and also to Association of Municipalities of Slovenia. I'm very glad to be here. I was very glad to be invited, and without hesitation I accepted this invitation to participate in this event.
Dejstvo je, da celotna Evropa in posledično tudi Republika Slovenija da se v zadnjem obdobju srečujeta in soočata z največjim humanitarnim izzivom po drugi svetovni vojni, z najbolj množičnim prihodom migrantov do sedaj. Izjemno povečani migracijski pritiski so v prvi vrsti nastali kot posledica vojn in sistematične destabilizacije Bližnjega vzhoda in Afrike v zadnjih letih. Tako so bili migranti prisiljeni zbežati pred uničujočo vojno vihro in zapustiti svoje domove, da bi rešili lastna življenja in življenja svojih otrok. Spet želijo zaživeti človeka vredno življenje, si povrniti dostojanstvo, se izobraževati, delati ter svojim otrokom omogočiti boljšo in predvsem varno prihodnost. Nekateri so ali bodo v naslednjem obdobju prisiljeni zapustiti svoje domove tudi zaradi podnebnih sprememb ali pa številnih drugih razlogov. Pri tem smo jim dolžni pomagati tako vladne kot nevladne organizacije, ki moramo delovati skupaj, usklajeno, odločno, a hkrati tenkočutno in pozorno še posebej do najranljivejših skupin, kot so otroci in družine.
European Union and Slovenia have met this challenge of major arrival of refugees and asylum seekers from Africa mostly, and this is actually because of wars. They have to run away. They are forced to save their lives and lives of their children, and we are actually obliged to offer them better future, better life, and better life for their future for their children. We will also face these challenges in the future, mostly because of the ecological catastrophes that will lead to other refugees coming here, and we have to help these people.
V preteklih mesecih smo se v Sloveniji soočali z najobsežnejšimi migracijami nasploh pri nas. Vendar je dejstvo, da je šlo pri tem bolj ali manj za tako imenovane tranzitne migracije, tranzitne migrante, saj Slovenija ni bila njihova ciljna država. Čimprej so želeli priti v države, ki so si sami zastavili kot njihov cilj. Zato je bila njihova oskrba specifična in smo bolj ali manj poskrbeli zgolj za začasne nastanitve.
In the past few months, we have faced the most major migration in our country, but this was mostly transit migration because Slovenia wasn't a go country to those people coming here. But as a country, they wanted to go to the country that they chose to be their go countries, and that's why we had the measures was specific, and we had to just provide like some basic and not just to make them
Pri tem smo seveda delovali v vseh pogledih po svojih najboljših močeh. Izjemnega pomena je bilo sodelovanje s humanitarnimi in nevladnimi organizacijami. Še več sodelovanja pa pričakujem v prihodnje. Ne smemo si namreč zatiskati oči pred realno možnostjo, da se takšna situacija tudi ponovi. Pri tem pričakujemo tudi večje in intenzivnejše sodelovanje stroke z vseh področij.
We are not allowed to shut our eyes in front of the opportunities that this situation will repeat. And in this we have cooperated our best powers and that was also very important with other humanitarian and ungovernmental organizations, and more of this cooperation we're expecting in future, and also we're expecting bigger and more intense cooperation of different kinds of professionals.
Seveda so se pa razmere v zadnjem obdobju močno spremenile in dejstvo je, da bo določeno število teh ljudi ostalo v Sloveniji trajno ali vsaj dalj časa. V naši državi se je namreč v zadnjih mesecih število prosilcev za mednarodno zaščito občutno povečalo. Če je bilo za primer samo januarja zgolj 17 prošenj za mednarodno zaščito, jih je bilo februarja že 270. Kar je preseglo nastanitvene zmogljivosti našega azilnega doma. To je bil tudi razlog, da se je vlada odločila ustanoviti 2 izpostavi, in sicer ena izpostava v samskem domu na Kotnikovi v Ljubljani in druga v izobraževalnem centru za zaščito in reševanje v Logatcu.
There were some changes because of the circumstances that appeared. And it's a fact that some of these people were temporarily or for longer periods of time staying in Slovenia. In our country, the number of asylum procedures of people asking for asylum became bigger in the past few months. Just to point out, in January there were 7 asylum procedures, and in February there were 270, which of course is much bigger than our accommodation abilities of asylum home. That is also the reason why government decided to establish two asylum homes out of asylum home, and there is one accommodation home in Kotnikova in Ljubljana and another. And there is an educational center for protection and protection in Logatec.
Osebe, ki v Republiki Sloveniji iščejo mednarodno zaščito, so nastanjene, kot rečeno, v azilnem domu ali njegovih izpostavah, kjer jim je zagotovljena osnovna oskrba. Poleg tega za psihosocialno oskrbo skrbijo tudi socialni delavci in psihologi, pri tem pa je neprecenljivo delo seveda nevladnih organizacij in prostovoljcev. Tu predvsem pomagajo prostovoljci slovenske filantropije, društva Mozaik, Jezuitskega združenja za begunce, Inštituta za afriške študije, UNICEF-a in tako dalje. Trenutno je pri nas okoli 350 prosilcev, med njimi je kar 90 otrok.
People seeking for asylum in Republic of Slovenia are staying in asylum home or other asylum facilities in Ljubljana and Rogatec, where they are provided with basic protection and basic accommodation. Beside that, there is psychosocial help provided from social workers and also psychologists. But it's priceless that we are able to involve non-governmental organizations and volunteers. And here there is special help from Slovene Philanthropy, Association Mozaik, Association for Refugees of Jesuits, also the Institute for African Studies and UNICEF. Like temporarily, there is around 350 asylum seekers in Slovenia, among them 90 children.
V izjemnih okoliščinah, kot so denimo zdravstveni razlogi, se prosilca za mednarodno zaščito lahko razseli v druge primerne inštitucije ali na zasebni naslov, če mu nastanitev v azilnem domu ali njegovi izpostavi ne more biti zagotovljena. Tem osebam v primeru, da nimajo sredstev za preživljanje, dodelimo tudi finančno pomoč. Utemeljenost razlogov za razselitev ugotavlja posebna komisija. Če višina stroškov oskrbe in nastanitve v drugi primerni inštituciji presega višino finančne pomoči, ki je dodeljena prosilcu, razliko v stroških krije naše ministrstvo.
If there are special occasions, like health reasons, for example, asylum seeker can live outside of asylum home or at some private address. If there is an asylum home, if it's not, it can't provide their needs. To those people, if they don't have money or other means to survive, they are provided with financial help. But to provide those accommodations and also financial help, this has to go through the special procedure by a special commission. The amount of costs that are taken care of from the ministry, there is a difference from the amount of help and from the amount of help that is provided for the asylum seeker. This difference is covered by the ministry.
Osebe s priznano mednarodno zaščito so na to upravičene do nastanitve v integracijski hiši, in sicer 1 leto od dneva pridobitve statusa. Prav tako seveda njihovi združeni družinski člani. Po preteku 1 leta se osebe preselijo na zasebni naslov.
People that are already recognized asylum protection are then provided to live in integration house, and that's up to 1 year from when they got the status. Also, this refers to their family members. After 1 year, they can live at private address.
Če nimajo lastnih sredstev za preživljanje, je ministrstvo 2 leti po izselitvi iz integracijske hiše nudi pomoč pri nastanitvi tudi v obliki denarnega nadomestila za zasebno nastanitev. Vkolikor pa se takoj po pridobitvi statusa naselijo na zasebnem naslovu in pomoč pri nastanitvi v obliki denarnega nadomestila zagotavljamo 3 leta. Nov zakon o mednarodni zaščiti, ki bo v kratkem stopil v veljavo, torej 26. aprila letos, pravice do denarnega nadomestila ne ukinja, jo pa pogojuje z udeležbo oseb na tečaju slovenskega jezika. Posebna pozornost na tem področju je namenjena mladoletnikom brez spremstva, ki se jim obdobje upravičenosti do denarnega nadomestila podaljša za čas šolanja vendar ne dlje kot do dopolnjenega 26. leta starosti.
If they don't have their own needs to survive, ministry covers up to 2 years after they move out of integration house, financial help to live at private accommodations. If after they gain the status of refugees, they start living at private addresses. This help to live at private address is provided to them up to 3 years. And the new law for international protection that will just start to be forced from 26th of April, this financial help will not stop, but will have to be obtained by learning Slovene language. There will be a special to minors, without unaccompanied minors, there will be special help provided, and that means until they are in school, but not longer than until they are 26 years old.
Ministrstvo za notranje zadeve ima 2 integracijski hiši, v Ljubljani in v Mariboru. Trenutno je v ljubljanski integracijski hiši 6 oseb, v Mariboru pa 11. Iščemo pa tudi nove prostore, saj obstoječi ne bodo zadostovali za vse potrebe, v zasebnih naslovih pa biva 264 oseb s statusom mednarodne zaščite. Opažamo, da večina oseb po pridobitvi statusa poišče zasebno nastanitev.
There are 2 integration houses by the ministry, one is in Ljubljana and one in Maribor. Right now, in Ljubljana integration house, there are 6 people accommodated, and in Maribor 11. But their ministry is in search of new accommodation places, because right now, the ones that they have now will not be enough for all the needs. Even though there's 264 people living at private accommodation while having status of international protection. There is also the fact that a lot of people, most of people, after they gain the status, they find their private accommodations to be that.
Ministrstvo za osebe z mednarodno zaščito zagotavlja tudi tako imenovani program Pomoč pri življenjskih situacijah, ki ga trenutno izvaja nevladna organizacija Društvo Odnos, namenjen pa je zlasti reševanju težav na področju zasebne nastanitve. Ta program zagotavljamo že vrsto let, saj se je spremljanje vključevanja oseb v družbo izkazala velika potreba po tovrstni pomoči.
Ministry is providing for the people with international protection also one program called Help with Living Situations that is right now executed by the Association of NOS and is following and is helping with situations appearing in the field of private accommodation. This program is provided for many years because with accompanying with help to the people into the society, this help is very needed and it proved to be very helpful.
V prihodnje nas na tem področju čaka še izjemno veliko dela, saj se je Slovenija zavezala, da bo sprejela 567 oseb iz projekta premestitve iz Italije in Grčije, ter 20 oseb iz projekta trajne preselitve. Dodatno se skladno z dogovorom med Evropsko unijo in Turčijo vzpostavlja še nov mehanizem. Slovenija je že začela s postopkom premestitve, tako bodo prve premeščene osebe iz Italije in Grčije k nam prispele predvidoma najkasneje do konca tega meseca.
In the future, there will be a lot of work because Slovenia will welcome 567 people from Italy and Greece, and 20 people will come also to stay here permanently. And this is this was established between the European Union and Turkey as a new mechanism. Slovenia has started to relocate. Slovenia became part of this relocation of people, and first people are from Greece and Italy are expected here till the end of this month.
Kot ste verjetno seznanjeni, na medresorski ravni trenutno intenzivno potekajo aktivnosti za zagotovitev dodatnih nastanitvenih zmogljivosti za osebe, ki bodo premeščene oziroma trajno preseljene v Republiko Slovenijo. Pri tem posebej poudarjam, da se na Ministrstvu za notranje zadeve zavedamo, da na uspešnost procesa vključevanja zelo močno vpliva predvsem lokalno okolje. In zato v okviru aktivnosti predvidevamo tudi sodelovanje z vsemi ključnimi institucijami v krajih, v katere bodo nastanjene te premeščene osebe oziroma preseljene osebe. Kot naš dolgoletni in ključni partner bodo v lokalnem okolju konkretno izvajanje pomoči pri vključevanju teh oseb v družbo nudile nevladne in druge organizacije, in sicer v okviru programov, ki bo v ta namen sofinanciralo naše ministrstvo.
As you probably know, there are currently a lot of activities to provide additional accommodations going on in interministry part in order to provide or to reallocate these people to Slovenia. But it has to be pointed out that at the Ministry for Interior we are aware that in order to make this process successful, there is a lot of in order to make this process successful, local environment has a lot of in its hands, and in order to make this this cooperation better, there will be people will be accommodated in these private local areas. But as our long-term and key partner in these local areas, there will be governmental and other associations involved, and in order to help them, there will be co-finances provided by our ministry.
Zavedamo se, da bo to pomemben izziv za vse nas, tako državne organe, nevladne organizacije in predvsem lokalno prebivalstvo. Že v času migracijskega vala smo se pogosto soočali z zaskrbljenostjo lokalnega prebivalstva v krajih, kjer so bili sprejemni oziroma nastanitveni centri. V številnih pogovorih z njimi smo jim poskušali razložiti, da njihovo skrb iskreno razumemo, vendar pa je ta odveč in nepotrebna. Tako se je tudi izkazalo. Da razpršimo pretirano zaskrbljenost po vseh naših ukrepih redno obveščamo tiste občine, ki so še posebej izpostavljene begunski problematiki. Po naših najboljših močeh skrbimo za izmenjavo mnenj in usklajevanje stališč. Kljub temu naraščanje nestrpnosti in nezaupanje do tujcev v Sloveniji žal dobiva neželene razsežnosti. Zato se moramo nemudoma lotiti odkrivanja in odpravljanja vzrokov za takšne stanje. Rešitev je predvsem v ustvarjanju pozitivnega družbenega ozračja, spodbujanju medsebojnega spoštovanja in strpnosti, predvsem po spoštovanju pravil pravne države, pri čemer se zavedamo, da na tem področju delo ni nikoli končano in da gre za nek permanenten proces.
We are aware that this will be a major challenge for us, thank you, for all of us, for government, for NGOs, and for local people. We are also aware that in the time of migration wave came to Slovenia, there were a lot of concern from local people, and this concern we of course took into consideration, especially in the areas where accommodation centers for refugees were placed. We went through a lot of dialogue with all those local communities in order to accept and also to talk about these concerns, and also to make them aware what are we doing in the local communities and municipalities to help that are especially tackled in this refugee crisis, and we are trying to make as good as possible the dialogue between all the concerned parties. Even though all this, there is a growing concern and growing intolerance toward foreign people in Slovenia, which is unfortunately getting bigger and bigger, and that is why we have to right now immediately start to remove the reasons why this state is as it is. The solution is mostly in making positive social environment, in making tolerance more important, and in making important the country itself and its law. We are aware that this work is not finished yet, and this is a process that we are still part of.
Dejstvo je, da Slovenija leži na eni od migracijskih poti, pri čemer se moramo zavedati, da nimamo samo zahodno-balkanske migracijske poti, je tudi sredozemska, ki je še posebej močna. Zato je na nas vseh, da pomagamo in se vključujemo v reševanje te situacije po naših najboljših močeh. V mnogih občinah taka pomoč že poteka. Prebivalci pa so migranti in begunce sprejeli kot priložnost in ne kot grožnjo. Predstavniki našega ministrstva in tudi celotne vlade bodo še naprej vedno na voljo, da odgovorijo na vsa vprašanja prebivalcev in vodstev občin. Od občin pa seveda pričakujemo, da bodo pomagale pravilno informirati lokalno prebivalstvo o statusih, ki jih pridobijo begunci, in njihovih pravicah. Seveda pa bomo predstavili tudi pozitivne zgodbe integriranih beguncev kot neka pozitivno izkušnjo.
It's a fact that Slovenia is a part of migration route, and we are obliged to provide help as best as we can. In a lot of municipalities, this help is already provided, and all the local communities accept migrants and refugees as opportunities and not as a threat. Representatives of our ministry and also the whole government will still be available to answer questions to all local people and also to local leaders. From the municipality, we expect to help to inform local communities about the statuses that refugees get, about their rights, and we will also introduce positive integration stories of refugees that also have positive experiences.
Zato mislim, da bomo vsi z veseljem poslušali predstavitve dobrih praks kolegov iz Italije in Nemčije, saj se s temi izzivi srečujejo že dlje časa in njihovo znanje ter izkušnje bodo za nas več kot dragocene. Verjamem, da bo naše sodelovanje z občinami in nevladnimi organizacijami. Tudi v prihodnje zelo dobro in prepričan sem, da bomo skupaj ustvarili lepo, pozitivno in spodbudno okolje za begunce in pokazali, da smo sodobna država ter odprta in strpna družba.
I would be very glad to hear all the presentations of good practices of colleagues from Italy and Germany, because they are challenging, they are facing same challenges for a longer period of time, and their knowledge and experiences are priceless for us. I do believe our cooperation with municipalities and NGOs will maintain to be very good, and I'm also convinced that together we can establish beautiful, positive, and also nice environment to refugees, and to show them that we are a contemporary country and that we are open and also tolerant. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, first of all, to the State Secretary Šefic, and thank you very much to Nea. I apologize to both of you because, first of all, we didn't insist on speaking English as a working language. It's our fault, and also to Nea to creating additional work to you. Thank you very much. Now I would like that we go on, and I would like to invite our guests. First will be Simone D'Antonio from Italia, from Italy, and thank you. I would like also to announce a change in our schedule. Miss Daniela Di Capua couldn't come because there was some accident on yesterday. So Simona will present the SPRAR and the cases from Italy, and we have also made a little change in the order of the presentations before we agreed before the event. After Simona, we will have the presentations from Trieste and then from Oberhausen. Then we will have so please, Simona.
Thank you so much, Marco, for your kind introduction. Thank you for the invitation here in Ljubljana. It's very important for us as Association of Italian Cities and Municipalities to be here and to present the model of integration of refugees and asylum seekers that we have developed since 2002. Because we think that it's an important contribution of ideas and visions that we can share with other colleagues from the rest of Europe, and we are pretty sure that all the activities also cooperation on this topic at European level can start exactly from the experiences on the ground, from the experiences of our mayors, our local stakeholders, and the experience of the central service of SPRAR, which is the Central Office of Coordination of the National Protection System for Asylum Seekers and Refugees that we have enrolled. Just a quick highlight of how it works, the reception system in Italy. There are three different types of structures in charge of the reception of the integration of refugees and asylum seekers. SPRAR is just one of these three, and it is not the one with the highest number of places available. SPRAR right now has 22,268 places, which is the latest evolution of the system, which is still growing, and which will account 27,000 places in the next months. Now there is a pool which has been closed just a couple of weeks ago, and new cities and new municipalities will join the system. But consider that until 2015, the total number of places for asylum seekers and refugees was 3,000. So we saw in just 3 years a percentage from 3,000 to 22 and then to 27,000 places. I will explain to them how it was possible, but just to be brief, the so-called North Africa emergency in 2014 pushed this number higher from 3,000 places to 16,000 places in less than 1 year. Also because the rest of the structures, the rest of the system of integration in Italy did not work so much in terms of local integration like SPRAR, and it was assumed by the National Table of Coordination run by the Ministry of Home Affairs that the model of SPRAR could be the ruling model also for the rest of the integration activities. The rest of the integration activities are represented here. We have CARA, which are the reception centers for asylum seekers directly managed by the central government, by the Ministry of Home Affairs. It means big centers, especially located in regions such as Sicily, regions where most of the people arrived, and we call them places of prima accoglienza, or first reception of people for who asked for asylum in Italy. And then we have the temporary reception centers, which are quite linked to a situation of emergency, and which are directly managed by prefectures in Italy. There is a total of 80,000 places available for this, and these calls are not managed at national level like the call for SPRAR, but are managed at provincial level, at local level, and these are very useful for the welcoming, for the reception of people in case of emergency. But we saw that in many cases there were also like different standards in terms of reception. Some of the centers had very similar standards to SPRAR, and then we will see which are these standards, which are these guidelines. Other centers just provided shelter, just provided first reception to people. So the standard was not equal, it is still not equal, but the common effort of the Italian government is to raise these standards as much as possible in order to give a better integration, a better reception for refugees and asylum seekers coming to Italy. So, how can we define SPRAR? SPRAR is the National Protection System for Asylum Seekers and Refugees. It's an acronym of this. And it's the Italian network for the reception and integration of people seeking and granted international protection. So it's a network of experiences, of activities done at local level in direct collaboration with the local authorities which are in charge of these projects. How it works. We see three main actors involved in this process, and different levels of government involved in realization of the actions. We have the Ministry of the Interior, Ministry of Home Affairs, which is the most important part of this structure. We have the National Association of Italian Cities and Municipalities, ANCI, which manages the central service for SPRAR. And then we have local authorities, which are leading the projects, the local projects of integration, with the active involvement of the what we call in Italy third sector, so the sector of NGOs and associations, which work in close contact and in everyday contact with the local authorities and with our mayors. So we see that, as I said before, that this national network is the final result of all these different experiences, all these different projects of reception and integration, what we call integrated reception, accoglienza integrata, according to guidelines established by the Ministry of Interior. And it's something really particular of this SPAR system because those guidelines, these guidelines are very strict and tend to raise the quality of the activities done at local level, guaranteeing also the access to training courses, to also to work in some cases. There are many projects at local level which gave very good skills to refugees or try to foster as much as possible the already existing skills of refugees in order to make them very integrated in the local context, living in cities and municipalities, and trying to make them live in a stable way in those contexts. Here is a map of Italy. We say that the total number of places available is 22,268, and we have the different types of places. As you can see here, the region which have more places is Sicily, then Lazio region with the region of the capital city Rome, Puglia as well, but we see here that only one small region in the northwest of Italy, Valle d'Aosta, is not involved in this, but all the rest of the regions have refugees and asylum seekers have projects for them. We have three different types of places. Most of these places, 20,000, more than 20,000, are ordinary places. 1,852 are for unaccompanied minors, minors under 18 years old, and 280 places are dedicated to refugees and asylum seekers with mental disease and disabilities. So the total number of the projects is 486 local projects, and we have 406 municipalities and cities which are responsible for this process, for these projects. It doesn't mean that all of these cities are involved. 406 is more or less 5% of the total of 8,100 Italian cities and municipalities. But every project can also include other municipalities which can join the activities of the project, offering new places, offering places available. So the number of municipalities effectively involved in this is around 800, so it's more or less 10% of the total of the Italian municipalities. The number of these municipalities is growing. The new call, which is going to be finalized, projects are going to be chosen in the next weeks. It's including 200 new municipalities. So we will reach the quota of 1,000 municipalities, 108 in total, the municipalities involved in this network. So it's very important, and it's it's one of the elements more characteristic of the SPRAR system, because it means that a higher number of municipalities on the ground in every region are involved, and not only the big cities. There are different reasons that we see then which cities are involved in this process, decide to be a part of this network, and we will see also how it has some benefits also in terms of promotion of better welfare policies, not only for migrants but also for the rest of population. Another important thing is that not only municipalities are involved in it, but also provinces and unions of municipalities. So we have different levels of government involved in what we call local authorities. So it's not only cities. And here is the plan of the regions involved. As we see, Sicily, Lazio, and Puglia. They are the three regions which have more places available for refugees and asylum seekers, and then we have most of them as well in regions like Friuli, like bordering regions, not so many like in the others, but it's important also because these regions, in general, municipalities and cities of these regions, as we will learn also from the experience of Trieste, then take part to this kind of course and organize this kind of projects also because they will be already touched by this problem. So it's better to catch this opportunity to be part of a national network, sharing solutions with other stakeholders, with other actors at national level, than just managing on their own. But how SPRAR started in Italy? We can say that in 2000, it was just a test, it was just an experiment that was done thanks to the Ministry of Interior and the collaboration with the Italian Association of Municipalities and UNHCR. They started what was called Programma Nazionale Asilo. It was for a very limited amount of places. It was a national program for asylum. This experience was very successful, and then it was structured and included in the immigration law of 2002, the so-called Bossi-Fini law, on the basis of this success reached thanks to local projects. Then the National Protection System for Asylum Seekers and Refugees started its activities, and these activities were coordinated by the Central Service, which is now part of ANCI, effectively part of ANCI, that was part of ANCI before related salary of ANCI. And the Bossi-Fini law also established the National Fund for Asylum Policies and Services. So it established also the way to fund these projects. Right now, 80% of funds are national, 20% of funding is local. The role of the Central Service of SPRAR was established by the law mentioned before as a convention between the government, between the Ministry of Interior and ANCI. The Central Service is responsible for the coordination of the projects and provides technical support to the activities done at local level to the local projects of reception. This support is quite widespread, not only from Rome, from our central office, but also thanks to the action of regional tutors who visit, who monitors every day the projects and reports to the central office and to the Ministry of Interior the situation of every project, the quality, and try to raise those standards every time. We can say that these kind of projects have very fixed partnership at the moment when the code is launched and municipalities take part in it. They need to present a local partnership managing these activities. In general, NGOs and associations are part of these partnerships, but it's possible also, as I said before, for other municipalities to join these projects, to offer new places, and to announce also the offer of places available for refugees. Among the tasks of the Central Service based in Rome, we have the management of the National Data Bank. It's a database updated every day on available places, which can give us the opportunities every day to see what are the places available and to orientate also the action of prefectures which ask us for places. Also the monitoring of the activities undertaken at local level for asylum seekers and refugees, as I said before, and training, assistance, active consultancy to local projects when they set up activities, training for operators in order to raise the standards of the project. And also we provide support at local, national and European level as well in terms of information and awareness raising on what happens in Italian projects of integration for refugees and asylum seekers. But what is important to focus on is that these kind of projects are not just providing shelter and food to people, but they provide something more interesting also for local communities. We provide assistance also in terms of information, of social, psychological and legal information to people, to the refugees and asylum seekers. These projects try also to raise awareness among local communities And what we see is that we've never had very huge protests against SPRAR projects at the local level, because these projects are in some ways prepared. Local operators, mayors prepare local communities in order to raise the awareness among people about who is coming there, what is the possible role of these people, and also to try to foster some interactions with particular types of population. There are some cases, we will go through these cases later. The case of Satriano, for instance, is a small village in Calabria. The mayor, before the arrival of this young man from Mali, from Central Africa, from Pakistan as well, tried to foster the cooperation also with elderly persons who were migrants as well before, because most of them were workers in Switzerland and Germany, and then they come back when they retired, when they got retired in Calabria. And fostered also the collaboration with them. They tried to make some common activities, and it contributed a lot to revive this small village, but also to revive a sense of community which was going to be lost in a very small and village which was losing inhabitants. So we say that the system has been improved gradually. Not everything is perfect, and not the quality of all the projects is equal. But I think that a lot of efforts are done at this moment to ensure as much places as possible. As we said before, we passed from 3,000 places to the current 22,000 places in less than 3 years. It was a considerable effort also for our office in Rome, but I think that the biggest effort was done by our municipalities, which responded to this course in a very enthusiastic way in most of the cases, because I think that most of the cities and municipalities understood the added value of the integration of refugees. It's, I think, a cultural process as well. It's something really practical and technical in some ways, but what we like to do when we go to visit these kind of projects is also to ask to the mayors the reasons why they accepted to present as municipalities these projects, and why they think that are beneficial for their communities. In many cases, mayors apply for these kind of projects because they share concerns about human rights and the condition of refugees. So it's something very political, but it's also something very linked to the effective conditions of these people, but also for geographical reasons. As I said before, some of the cities which are part of this network were already dealing with this problem, or are already supposed to deal with it. So we have big cities like Milan, Rome, Naples, Turin, but also cities placed on the borders like Trieste, or like cities and villages in Sicily. But for most of the small centers, or for most of the small municipalities that are part of the program, the SPRAR is also seen, participation to the SPRAR network is also seen as an opportunity for the entire community. As I said before, to restore some community relations, but also to restore some welfare services which can be useful not only for migrants and refugees, but also for the rest of the population, like services for the access to work, or primary services such as schools. In most of the cases, elementary schools in small villages are closing, and the presence of new families of refugees or migrants can help also, in some cases, the reopening of these schools. Some of the keywords linked to the SPRAR, to the SPRAR network. First of all, the public nature of this network, the active involvement of local authorities, of municipalities. It's something really original. I think it's something really particular in the European scenario, as we are used to compare it in the framework of the European networks like ENARO, like or Eurocities, where we are usually involved in projects. Because I think that the use of resources and the involvement of public bodies can be really beneficial, also in terms of coordination, a multi-level governance approach, but also in the sense, I think, of ownership of these projects. And it's something that is not linked to the activity of one or two or three big NGOs, but it's something that is really shared by the local communities, with the collaboration, for sure, of local NGOs, local associations, but with the strong presence of the mayors who are the responsible of these projects. Synergies is another element, creating synergies among different managing bodies, the network of local associations, NGOs, cooperatives. In some cases, their participation to start projects is also an occasion of growth, of creation of new jobs at local level, and it is something really beneficial and really important for very small communities, where this kind of activities can also rise, as I said, the level of services, but can also be beneficial for the small and medium enterprises, and for many concrete aspects of the everyday life of these small villages. Decentralization is another element which is very important to highlight in this prior experience. As I said before, the integrated reception, this expression in English doesn't mean so much, but in Italian, accoglienza integrata, it really means that it's not just giving them shelter, but it's something more integrated, something that really takes into account different dimensions of the everyday life of people. And when this integrated reception is done in every region, and is done in many municipalities, the plan on the medium long term is to involve as many municipalities as possible in order to not create very huge numbers of people in big cities, but to give a proportional quota to, I don't say all the Italian municipalities, but most of them, is something that on the medium and long term is on the plans, and I think that it's really important also to share the responsibility of the local communities on it. Local networks, as we said, the creation of stable, interactive networks, involvement of all the local stakeholders is also contributing to create positive and proactive process of citizens' participation, of residents' involvement around it, which is really important, I think, not only for the inclusion of migrants who feel part of a community, but I think also for raising the standards of the social inclusion activities in Italy. What, as Italian Association of Municipalities, we say in the vision of the dialogue, the constant dialogue with the government, is that it's not only to create all the services for some specific deprived categories or only for refugees, but these services need to be part of a global, of a better welfare strategy for all, for everybody. And refugees should be only one part of it and not the only focus of these policies. The good quality also of the skills, specific skills owned by the operators, by our colleagues active at local level, strengthened over the years by on-field experience, is very important. And in some cases we see that some of the former guests of this project, some of the refugees who were active in those, were welcomed in these projects, are now working in these projects like operators. And it's also a way for them to give a contribution back to the community, but also to give an example to the people coming from wars, from deprived areas of the world, to see that concrete integration is possible, and that also they can be part of this process in a very concrete way. And then another element which is very important is the voluntary nature of the commitment of the local authorities, of the participation of local authorities in this network. As I said before, what we worked a lot on as Association of Cities and Municipalities was to highlight the value, the added value that participation to this network can have for Italian cities, for Italian municipalities, to raise the level of engagement of local administrations, but also to carry out better forms of integration towards asylum seekers and refugees. I think this element is very important because we had recently more than 200 new cities and municipalities willing to be part of this network. It means that the debate, the atmosphere, the general atmosphere that we perceive in the public opinion, and also debates on how much is given every day for each refugee, the cost of this, and the other things that we will say later. I'm not touching the attitude of mayors, of the local governments towards this issue, towards this problem. I think it is really important because local authorities can really be part of this change, can really be part of this. The real account is not just debate on television, but it's what's happening in the small municipalities in Calabria, such as in the big cities, such as in the neighborhoods of medium-sized cities, which are the most present in this. I think it's really important for us as ANCI to underline this, to underline the value of collaboration, of multilateral governance on it. Also because we want to raise the standards to do better in the future and to share this model as much as possible. Here you find some of our contacts, and then we'll say more about the stories and about other technical aspects. If you have some questions, maybe we can talk about it later, but please consider these contacts as useful for information also on what we are doing in different regions and different species that we are carrying out.
For this part, and then we will meet again in the second, after the break, with the cases of Satriano and other cases, which will give some flash to the system. But first, I would like now to invite our guests from Trieste. The speaker, Gianfranco Schiavone, who is one of the founding members, if I understood correctly, of the SPRAR system, and comes from the International Solidarity Consortium, the office of ONUS from the who is managing this SPRAR system on behalf of the municipality of Trieste or in cooperation with the municipality of Trieste. But he will explain more, and okay, you explain, and he will be helped by his colleague Tomasz Gregorc with translations.
Yes. Thank you very much. I'm very glad to be here for the first time, not in the same place, but this is my third conference in Ljubljana in this last month, and I speak in Italian because my English is not so good to explain all the concepts that I would like to explain to you, and my friend Tomasz will help me. Come è stato detto, io sono il responsabile di un'associazione che gestisce il sistema SPRAR a Trieste, appunto con il comune di Trieste, ma sono anche una persona che ha seguito questa evoluzione del sistema dell'asilo dal suo inizio, anzi non credo di farmi nessuna pubblicità se dico che sono stato fra coloro che l'hanno inventato, appunto nel lontanissimo ormai anno 2002.
Kakor je bilo že povedano v uvodu, sem predsednik asociacije Združenja Italijanskih konzorcij solidarnosti, ki deluje v Trstu in je pač eden od društv, ena od asociacij, ki izvaja tudi sistem SPRAR v Trstu. In mislim, da ne pretiravam, če rečem, in se ni to samo hvala, če pač poudarim, da sem bil čisto pri začetkih razvijanja sistema SPRAR v danem 2002.
E faccio parte di un'associazione il cui nome è Associazione per gli Studi Giuridici sull'Immigrazione, in italiano ASGI, l'acronimo, che appunto, come dice il nome, si occupa di fare delle proposte anche di riforma legislativa sul sistema per la protezione dei rifugiati in Italia, ma sull'immigrazione in generale, e sicuramente ne abbiamo molte delle proposte, non tutte, ma sono molte delle proposte che noi abbiamo fatto in questi anni sono diventate realtà.
Poleg tega sem član tudi združenja ASGI, ki je pač združenje pravnikov na področju migracij in integracije. In skupaj s tem združenjem smo in še vedno trenutno sledimo zakonodajam in skušamo z našimi predlogi vplivati na samo dinamiko in proces izvajanja raznih projektov integracije v Italiji.
Ho fatto rimettere la prima slide del mio collega di Italia perché volevo chiarire bene un punto che forse può essere sfuggito, no? Ai non italiani ovviamente, e cioè il fatto che in questi tre sistemi di cui si è parlato, a stretto rigore, la nuova legge in realtà ne prevede solo uno, il primo.
Vrnil sem se na slajd, ki ste ga videli že pri kolegu, zato ker morda vsem ljudem, ki ni znan italijanski kontekst, morda ni samoumevno ali pa jim je zbežalo pri razlagi, da od teh treh sistemov, kako so bili predstavljeni, v resnici nov zakon, ki je vstopil v veljavo 1. januarja 2016, ki je že najbolj nesebič, 1. januarja 2016, je na nacionalni ravni predvideva izključno en sistem in to je prvi.
Il sistema dei grandi centri collettivi a diretta gestione governativa è già stato abrogato, purtroppo i posti esistono ancora perché non sono facili da superare, da chiudere rapidamente, ma il legislatore italiano ha già deciso che il secondo modello, quello che abbiamo avuto in Italia per tanti anni, è stato un modello sbagliato.
Ta drugi model, to pomeni del nastanitev v velikih centrih, azilnih domovih, je bil že sprejet, da so ukinjene. Seveda zdaj v praksi jih je ukiniti zelo težko, ker jih je dosti in so precej veliki in gre postopoma, ampak je po zakonu že prepovedan, ne bi smo več obstajati, ker so že dokazali in tudi na sodišču sprejeli, da ta sistem integracije oziroma nastanitve ne zadostuje, pa ni v redu, ne deluje, ne delujoč.
E rispetto al terzo, come dice la stessa parola, è un sistema temporaneo, cioè la legge dice che se non c'è posto nel sistema di protezione, nello SPRAR, che è l'unico sistema, allora posso aprire temporaneamente una struttura di emergenza che dovrò andare a chiudere il prima possibile. Purtroppo la realtà è molto lontana da quello che sono gli obiettivi, ma è importante sapere che questo è l'obiettivo.
Kar se tiče tretjega modela, pač tega začasnega, kako tudi ime pove, je seveda začasnost mišljena dobesedno kot začasno. To pomeni, če na neki regiji, v nekem mestu ni dovolj razpoložljivih mest v prvem sistemu, ki je edini sistem, SPRAR sistem, se lahko začasno vzpostavijo začasni centri, katerih cilj pa je, da se jih čim prej zapre in v bistvu vzpostavi praktično prvi sistem.
Quindi nelle intenzioni della legge tutto il sistema di accoglienza e di protezione in Italia è o deve diventare un sistema di tipo territoriale.
Seveda že prej povedal, da realnost, pač kako vidite tudi po številkah, ne sovpada z tem, kar je pač na papirju, ker vidimo, da največ centrov je začasnih centrov, ampak zakon predvideva in moralo se bo vzpostaviti teritorijalno nastanitev, kot je z občinami in z regijami.
Ed è un sistema che deve diventare unico sia per i richiedenti asilo che per i rifugiati, perché faccio notare, proprio perché siamo fuori dall'Italia e questo è un concetto un po' difficile forse da cogliere, è che lo SPRAR riguarda sia i richiedenti asilo che i rifugiati, cioè noi non abbiamo e non vogliamo avere due sistemi separati per l'accoglienza dei richiedenti asilo e per l'integrazione dei rifugiati, ma un sistema unico dove l'integrazione comincia già per i richiedenti asilo.
In kakor tudi morda ni jasno, ali pa pač lahko uvide ljudem, ki ne poznajo italijanskega sistema, poudarjam, da ta enoten sistem, sistem SPRAR, ni mišljen samo kot integracijski po pridobitvi statusa prosilcev za azil, ampak se nanaša tako na prosilce za azil, kakor na begunce, to je seveda tudi ne, ker ne želimo dvojnega sistema, ne želimo enega sistema, ki bi nudil nastanitev prosilcem za azil in enega sistema, ki bi nudil integracijo ljudem, ki so dobili eno od oblik protekcij, temveč se za nas začne integracija že takoj z vstopom v Italijo, takoj z zaprošnjo za azil. To pomeni, prva nastanitev je že integracijska nastanitev.
C'è un'idea molto diffusa in molti paesi europei, che però noi riteniamo sbagliata, che è appunto quella di dividere fra il sistema per l'accoglienza dei richiedenti asilo e quello per l'integrazione dei rifugiati. E dietro questa idea c'è probabilmente, no, c'è sicuramente, no, in qualche modo l'idea che poiché il richiedente asilo potrebbe non diventare un rifugiato, potrebbe non essere riconosciuto, allora è meglio tenerlo in un luogo separato rispetto, no? E cominciare l'integrazione sociale solo con coloro che sono riconosciuti. L'esperienza dello SPRAR di questi anni in realtà ci insegna che è meglio cominciare con un'integrazione sociale anche del richiedente asilo, anche sì di coloro che magari non si vedranno riconosciuta la domanda.
Ta ločen, ta dvojni sistem, torej, ki je prepoznan vsaj po ideologiji oziroma v miselnosti in tudi v praksi po celi Evropi, je seveda za nas zgrešena oblika sistema in seveda od zadaj temelji na neki logiki, ki je pač logika vse prisotna praktično, in to je ta, da ker seveda ne moremo vedeti, ali bo prosilec za azil dobil status begunca, subsidiarne zaščite, humanitarne zaščite, ga raje držimo malo ločenega in začnemo postopek integracije šele potem, ko smo zazihrani, da bo ta oseba status dobila. In sistem SPRAR dokazuje pa ravno nasprotno, da če se začne delati na integraciji, poimenujemo osebe takoj, ko se pojavi na ozemlju, to pomeni preden sploh pridobi status, se izkaže v bistvu za bolj plodno obliko vključevanja v družbo.
Quali sono queste strutture di accoglienza dello SPRAR? Questo è un punto che va ben chiarito. Sono sicuramente anche strutture collettive, ma devono essere tendenzialmente di piccole dimensioni e distribuite, ma sono soprattutto non strutture, cioè abitazioni, case, appartamenti, esattamente quelle in cui vivono tutti gli italiani e gli stranieri residenti, cercando in questo modo di addirittura superare il concetto di centro di accoglienza.
In seveda, ko govorimo o nastanitvah, o nastanitvenih centrih, je v sistemu SPRAR treba poudariti, da ne gre toliko za neke kolektivne centre, pomeni centre, ker bi zadrževalo se večje število ljudi, seveda obstajajo, ampak ni to poanta. Poanta je v tem, da se ustvari majhne oblike sobivanja, kar pa pomeni hiša ali pa stanovanja, in se s tem v bistvu preide tudi sam koncept centra. Pomeni, že tudi za nas je že sam koncept centra zgrešen in vsaka habitacija, hiša, ki zadržuje več kot določeno število ljudi, 10 ponavadi, je seveda ni zaželena.
La maggior parte di questi 22.000 posti dello SPRAR sono semplicemente degli appartamenti che già esistevano, già esistono e che sono privati, quindi e che vengono presi in locazione per l'appunto dal sistema pubblico. Quindi appunto sono le normali case.
In seveda večino teh 22.000 in toliko nastanitvenih prostorov je seveda stanovanj, praktično stanovanj, ki so prisotni v neki občini in se jih najema na trgu, kakor pač vsa ostala stanovanja.
Molte volte mi chiedono ma come fate a trovare i centri? La mia risposta è che basta guardarsi intorno e cercare case e i centri vengono trovati. Se invece tu cerchi un centro, sei già sulla strada sbagliata.
Ko ga večkrat vprašajo, kako potem vi najdete te prostore, te centre za nastanitev, reče, da se ne rabi dosti, pač pogledaš okoli in najdeš pač stanovanje. Ker če se ti usmeriš v to, da boš iskal center, to pomeni nek kolektivni center, kjer se bo lahko zdrževalo več ljudi, si po naše že na zgrešeni poti.
Era implicito, ma lo dico per chiarezza, tutti i centri ovviamente del sistema di protezione sono aperti, non esistono centri chiusi nel sistema SPRAR.
Morda, ker nisem umevno, bi rad poudaril, da vsi tej centri oziroma nastanitve v sistemu SPRAR so absolutno odprtega tipa. To niso nastanitve zaprtih tipov ali pa pol zaprtih tipov.
Dietro l'idea di chiedere ai comuni di occuparsi dell'accoglienza c'è, credo, una concezione molto importante, ed è quella di concepire la presenza dei rifugiati come un fattore normale della vita di una società.
Zadaj, za idejo, ko se naslovimo na občine za pomoč, za sodelovanje pri tem integracijskem postopku, sloni praktično ideja, da mora prisotnost prosilcev za azil biti dojeta kot vsakdanja, kot nekaj popolnoma normalnega, kot prisotnost kogarkoli na nekem območju.
Nel nostro sistema di struttura dei rapporti fra Stato ed autonomie locali, alle autonomie locali spetta l'erogazione dei servizi, di tutti i servizi che riguardano la persona, i servizi di carattere sociale e di organizzazione del territorio. E sarebbe irragionevole pensare che alcuni servizi invece appunto alle persone, di carattere sanitario, sociale, educativo, eccetera, in realtà non spettino agli enti locali soltanto perché parliamo di rifugiati.
Seveda, če govorimo o nivoju med državnim nivojem in pa neko lokalno avtonomijo, je pač ideja ta, da so vsi javni servisi, šolstvo, zdravstvo, socialne in tako naprej, dostopni praktično vsem ljudem, tako vsem ljudem prisotnim na področju. In seveda hitro zapademo v idejo, če govorimo samo o državnem nivoju in ne o lokalnem nivoju, da prosilci za azil niso ista kategorija ljudi kot tisti, ki živijo temveč dlje časa v neki občini ali pa na nekem območju, mestu.
In effetti la nuova, da sempre, ma in particolare la nuova norma chiarisce che anche i richiedenti asilo, dopo solo 3 mesi di permanenza, hanno la residenza nel comune in cui si trovano, anche se la loro condizione giuridica è ancora quella di richiedenti asilo e la residenza è la porta per l'accesso ai servizi del territorio.
In nova zakonodaja je zelo jasna, ko govori o tem, da vsaka oseba, tudi če njen status, prosilec za azil, tudi če status te osebe še ni razrešen, to pomeni, ni še dobil odgovora, po 3 mesecih se lahko vpiše v sistem stalnega bivanja, register stalnega bivanja, rezidence, in s tem dobi avtomatsko pač dostop do vseh servisov, ki so prisotni na teritoriju oziroma v mestu.
Qualcosa sull'esperienza specifica di Trieste, che è appunto una città che aderisce al sistema di protezione ovviamente da quando esiste, cioè dal 2002. Al momento si trova ad avere un numero tra richiedenti asilo e rifugiati di circa 1000 persone adulte e circa 150 minori stranieri non accompagnati, quindi più o meno 3 volte la presenza, diciamo, attuale dei rifugiati in Slovenia.
Trenutno v Trstu je situacija taka, da je prisotnih približno 1000 prosilcev za azil odraslih in pa približno 150 mladoletnih brez spremstva. To pomeni, da govorimo praktično o 3-krat več kot prisotnost v Trstu, to pomeni v mestu Trst, kot za celo Slovenijo.
Questa situazione potrebbe qualcuno pensare che ci sta comportando grandi difficoltà, in realtà no. In realtà l'intero sistema pur essendo così grande, è interamente gestito dal Comune di Trieste, con fondi statali, naturalmente.
Nekdo bi si lahko mislil, da taka močna gostota prisotnosti prosilcev za azil v Trstu ustvarja probleme, vendar temu ni tako, kajti se celoten sistem, kljub tej strašansko povečani fluktuaciji ljudi, je še vedno v rokah oziroma ga menedžerira, upravlja. Upravlja v bistvu občina in seveda z pomočjo fondov, državnih fondov.
Di questi posti la parte minore, 120, sono ufficialmente del sistema SPRAR, tutti gli altri sono delle cosiddette strutture temporanee e questa è la situazione di moltissimi, anzi di tutte le città italiane. Una delle principali però positive differenze di Trieste è che il cosiddetto sistema temporaneo, per l'appunto, in realtà ha le stesse caratteristiche del sistema SPRAR, perché è gestito sempre dall'ente locale e anche il tipo di servizi è il medesimo del sistema SPRAR. Quindi in realtà è come se avessimo un unico sistema SPRAR di 1000 posti.
Trenutno je v Trstu le 120 mest registriranih kot SPRAR in vsa ostala 1000. Približno jih je v tem tretjem sistemu, začasnem sistemu. Je pa razlika ta, da ni praktično nobenih razlik med obemi sistemi. To pomeni, tudi vsi ljudje, ki so vključeni v tako imenovani pač KAS sistem, imajo dostop do enake oblike servisa, do enake oblike suporta, kakor tisti, ki so v sistemu SPRAR. Kajti še vedno je to v upravljanju lokalne, pač neke lokalne entitete in pa pač občinske ravni.
Abbiamo anche noi ovviamente le nostre difficoltà, e circa 200 di questi posti sono ancora posti sicuramente non a quello che definirei non adeguati, nel senso che sono posti effettivamente provvisori, per esempio collocazioni in alberghi, ma la maggioranza sono appunto posti di civile abitazione, diffusi in tutta l'area urbana, e l'obiettivo è di prosciugare completamente i posti appunto provvisori per avere un sistema normale.
Seveda, pač ne gre brez težav, nažalost, 200 od teh mest, 200 pač prostih mest, je v temu, kar mi dojemamo kot neprimernih mestih, predvsem govorimo tukaj o hotelih, nastanitve v hotelih. Vsa ostala so pa v obliki razpršenih enot ali pa stanovanj po celem mestu in seveda stremimo k temu, da bi čim prej tudi teh 200 nekako ukinili in uspeli dobiti dovolj mest za pač teh razpršenih oblik za stanovanje.
Circa 2 anni fa, o poco più di 2 anni fa, anche a Trieste il sistema di accoglienza era di circa 200 posti. Quindi in realtà la crescita è stata una crescita velocissima, imposta dal cambiamento, ma questa esperienza insegna che anche una crescita veloce può essere fatta in maniera adeguata, senza provocare traumi sociali e senza strumenti straordinari, ma semplicemente facendo crescere in maniera intelligente il sistema ordinario.
Seveda, 2 leti pa pol približno nazaj je v Trstu bilo prisotnih 200 ljudi, 200 prosilcev za azil. Danes smo na 1000 in toliko, kar pomeni, da govorimo o zelo hitrim porastu prisotnosti, vendar naše izkušnje govori o tem, da kljub temu, da gre za neko obliko, da je bilo nepredvideno in zelo hitro povečano prisotnost oseb, če se koncentriramo in če obstoječ sistem ohranjamo in ne izumljamo začasnih oblik nastanitev ali pa nekih kriznih situacij, ki nas bi reševali z nekih kriznih situacij, bi lahko ta hitra rast vseeno dostojna, brez da bi povzročila neke socialne travme in brez da bi povzročila prekomernih težav tudi za ljudi, ki so nastanjeni.
Il fatto che un abitante di Trieste, così come di altre città italiane che aderiscono allo SPRAR, può scoprire da un giorno all'altro che l'appartamento dello stesso piano in cui abita, del suo condominio, è abitato da un richiedente asilo, da un rifugiato, in realtà permette alla popolazione di abituarsi molto velocemente al cambiamento, a quel cambiamento al quale magari non si abituerebbe affatto, oppure verso il quale farebbe una grande resistenza, se noi decidessimo di aprire dei centri invece in alcune zone piuttosto che in altre.
Nek občan, recimo, ki ugotovi nekega dne, da so njegovi novi sosedi, v resnici prosilci za azil, pač migranti, pač begunci, omogoča neko obliko prilagajanja in spoznavanja drugačnosti, ki je dosti bolj mehka, mislimo, kakor pa, če bi mi planirano ustvarjali centre ali pa iskali centre za kolektivne nastanitve, recimo v nekih določenih predeljih mest. To pomeni, ta razprašena nastanitev brez neke velike publicitete v vsakdanje stanovanja, omogočajo dosti bolj, po naše izkušnje to kaže, dosti bolj mehek sprejem in dosti bolj normalen, običajen sprejem teh ljudi, kakor pa iskanje nekih specifičnih centrov, kamor bi naselili ljudi.
Chiudo dicendo che proprio perché ha una situazione ancora di presenze molto limitate di richiedenti asilo e di titolari di protezione, la Slovenia potrebbe trovarsi in una condizione abbastanza favorevole a cominciare almeno sul piano sperimentale, alcuni progetti appunto di accoglienza integrata e diffusa coinvolgendo le municipalità.
Glede na prisotnost, na fluktuacijo ljudi, ki se odločijo ostati v Sloveniji, lahko sklepamo, da obstaja zelo dobri predpogoji, pa dobri pogoji za eksperimentiranje v drugačnih oblikah nastanitve, predvsem v razpršenih oblikah nastanitve, ob pomoči seveda v sodelovanju z lokalnimi nivoji. In ta konvencija integrata, sem prvo razmišljal, bi mogoče bilo dobro prevesti kot celostna nastanitev, če to je v konceptualni prevod, ampak to meni z eksperimentalnimi oblikami teh celostnih nastanitev na lokalnih ravneh.
L'invito che faccio a tutti coloro che si occupano di asilo in Slovenia e sicuramente al segretario del governo è quella di appunto avere un po' il coraggio di provare a fare questi progetti sperimentali, perché noi abbiamo visto che possono riuscire molto bene e se si ha magari qualche timore chiaramente di scegliere numeri piccoli, di scegliere località più adatta, magari di scegliere un determinato target, no? Di richiedenti asilo, per esempio quelli destinatari della relocation, che quindi devono venire per esempio già dall'Italia o dalla Grecia. Insomma, sicuramente si possono fare delle scelte, no? Per cominciare con piccoli passi, però avere anche il coraggio di cominciare con dei modelli un po' innovativi.
In seveda nastavljam se pač na vse tukaj prisotne, na ministrstvo in na ostale asociacije, da bi bilo zelo fino imeti moč si upati z nekimi majhnimi eksperimentalnimi projekti, ki bi si jih lahko zelo dobro zastavilo v smislu, da se določi točno nek določen predel mesta ali pa neko občino, kjer vidimo, da je bolj sprejemljiva za ta tip nastanitve, točno neko določeno vrsto, grda beseda, pardon, določeno kategorijo, grša beseda, prosilcev za azil, morda točno teh, ki bojo prišli sem z programom relokacijo in začeti v bistvu z majhnimi koraki, zelo usmerjeno, z majhnih številkah eksperimentirati na taki obliki nastanitve.
Grazie.
Hvala.
Thank you very much. Before we continue with the presentation from Germany, I would like to give a few words to His Excellency Paolo Trichilo, the Ambassador of Republic of Italy in Slovenia.
Yes.
Well, thank you
Thank you very much. I think I can speak from here. You can listen to me quite easily. Well, I didn't want to miss the opportunity to thank the organizers, because I think it's very relevant to organize such meetings for exchange of information, experiences, best practices, and sometimes even less than best practices, to learn from the experience that we have gained in Europe on this area. And I also would like to thank Secretary of State Sheffield for his time, because he has not only delivered the speech, but he has been all the time listening to the presentations, showing a real interest and genuine interest in the arguments that we are touching upon today. I think that from my perspective, I have spent just 3 months in Ljubljana. I felt very encouraged when I came here, because the Slovenian approach has been very positive towards migration. I think, I mean, I don't want to steal the job to Secretary of State, but I think it's correct to remember that Slovenia has sent a naval unit, the Triglav, in the Mediterranean operations to rescue migrants from Africa. Slovenia has been open to the relocation of migrants according to the quotas that have been decided, but not really implemented so far. But indeed, the contacts are ongoing now, and for the 218 refugees from now in the Italian territory, in the quota of 577 that's been allocated to Slovenia. And also it is not last but not least the rhetoric by the government that I think has been a positive one in showing openness. And as the Secretary of State just said, he felt and the country feels an obligation in order to help and support those people. I would like to conclude saying that, of course, from the Italian experience, this phenomenon of migration is here to stay. It's not a temporary thing, and therefore we have to consider, of course, the reception and then the integration. For Italy, I would also like to say that this has shown some positive effects, despite certain, xenophobic or intolerant movements. But the fact is that Italy, like Slovenia and like many other countries, Germany also is here today, is one of those countries that are getting older and older. And it means that also we have a demographic question, and it has been also thanks to the immigration that Italy has been able to keep a certain stability in the number of citizens, which is an important factor in economic terms. And I think that if you take a look at the migration outlook by the OECD, for instance, you would find very important economic case for migration and integration. So thank you very much. These are very useful experiences, and through this dialogue, I think we can make a better Europe. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to invite our colleagues from Oberhausen in the Ruhr area in Germany. We have heard Trieste has, with, I don't know, 250,000 people more or less, has more than 1,150 refugees. Oberhausen is a city of around 100,000 people with 200, and has even more refugees itself. So it has more than 3,000 refugees at the moment. So I think we can learn something from Oberhausen, and I think it will be interesting to. Can you share this again?
Slovenia.
see what we.
Okay, what now?
Okay. Sorry. So, yeah. Agnieszka Nuczak and Christoph Stark come from non-governmental organization KITE, who is working on projects in relation to refugees and not to municipality, just to explain. And now I give the word to you and you can present yourself. Thank you.
Hello, and thank you to be invited here to speak in Slovenia on this topic, what for us actually is really important. But just to say in advance, my English is really, really bad, so it will be really helpful if you could sometimes when I missing some words, so imagine what I want to say, so it will be nice. And first of all, we are the smallest of all. So let's say we are the last task in the society. We are a small NGO, we call it as an association, but we are still working really close with the municipality. What kind of municipality is it? It is a municipality in Germany. We have 200,000 people, but it is the poorest municipality in Germany. That means the condition there, it's really hot. Even in the normal, let's say years before, they was not allowed to do things what they wanted to do in their own municipality. There was out of government about the high debt of the structural change what they have there in the industrial area. Just to know where we are, like in what kind of municipality we are under this actual topic. And we are a small association. They work there inside. So, and the friends was asking me some question about Germany, and I want to answer a bit personal. Let's say to get a feeling, we don't can say what is Germany in general, what happens now in Germany in January, but I can say a bit what I feel, and then we come to the municipality situation, and then to our organization. So 10 minutes for personal questions about Germany, 10 minutes about what is the situation in the local level, and 10 minutes about ourselves. So they ask us what is the motivation of Germany to host the highest number of refugees. It is hard to say, but I think Germany has a long experience with refugees in the past. But with the coming of the European Union, it was changed something. With Schengen, they was ignored some problematic. Like what happens in Italy, and they said, okay, the first country where the refugees have to stay, they have to care about the problems. And let's say the last 5 or 10 years or a bit more, they ignore the problem of what happens in Italian or in Greece or in Spain, let's say. So, but then it comes this big, let's say, the knowledge in the society was changing. They seen what happens in Lampedusa, they seen what happens in Hungary, and you feel that in the society of Germany it's something pressure that we have to do something. That was a common sense even, and so they had to do something but this problematic in Hungary, and so they said Germany has long supported the policy to refugees to have to stay in the first country, they enter the EU, but opening the borders and sheer scale of the people in need started an act of responsibility. Together with the capacity in the society, they know, okay, they will can handle it. So this was, I think, why of this question. The other question is, what is the difference between Eastern and Western Germany? I would make a good example. Let's say in the Eastern of Germany or in Western Germany, they had same immigrants from Vietnam once in the same period. That means Vietnamese coming to the socialist system of Germany to work there, and the other was coming to the for the war. What happens? So the empathy of the Western of Germany, it wasn't really high. They integrated, and they have really now a lot of philosophers. They have a really important impact of the society. In the let's say Eastern DDR, it wasn't, let's say, after the falling of the wall, there still wasn't the Fidschis. They was not like their own. So it means they're a kind of difference. Why? I don't know exactly why, but I think in the socialistic system everything it wasn't prepared, and they was thinking they are anti-fascistic, or but in the end they don't really was autocritical, and they don't have make this process of let's say reflection of not being national. It was another mentality and another happening in the society. So these are these two parts. What is the actual integration? Do we have the same thing in the mind? I think it don't exist a kind of scientific clear definition about what is integration. Too long they was thinking like adjustment, that the Germans still very open perceived adjustment like Anpassung, or like in the army when you have to be in the same right. It is not, but if you look around, since the nation state was established, we are talking about homogeneity, but the reality is heterogeneity. It means it is not. I think this is the actual situation, and everybody works on heterogeneity and this on. How fast can integration happen? It is very long process. It can take years, even decades. The first generation usually has problem. The migrations have to accept less paid jobs and with less qualification needed compared to what they would do at their own home where they come from. Their education and qualification are not acknowledged. It's a kind of disqualification. But their children has less problems and they attend the school there. So this is one experience. Those integration stimulate prosperity, or those integration only work where there are jobs available. On influence, the one influence the other, codependence. Although it is hard to measure the economic influence of migration. After the foundation of the Federal Republic of Germany, it was migration, the stimulant, the economic miracle like Wirtschaftswunder. Until 1949, 10 million people migrated to Germany before the wall was built, and after 61, another 3 million. There were people with ambitions that had to work hard to get the position and they had before. In the context of migration, it happens very often that the people are willing to do the jobs that the locals don't want to do. The specific in this motivation is the avant-garde advantage that the country can have from the migrants. That means they are willing to do something what others not to do. They fight. They are passionate. They fight. When you can use their passions, they are able and willing to do a lot. So, how can policies support integration? I would say personally, it is seen a bit skeptical. Of course, the state has to offer certain frameworks, specific measures, such language courses and others. But it is well known that people learn a language through practice. When they speak or they have the practice on their workplace, during the leisure activities, and the interaction with their neighbors. Integration happens in this field. I mean, integration happens in co-living, co-working, and even when they are in work, probably they are good integrated, but when they go home, they don't are integrated, so they are missing something. I think this is really, really, really important to feel or to know. The other question was, so is Germany a good and example country considering immigration? In the 90s, there were the first studies on migration that compared Germany to Netherlands, France, and Belgium. And the results for Germany were quite good. The integration measures taken by the municipalities, local communities, were more successful than the central government programs. That means what happens that each municipality had to take care about problems. They don't have this kind of national governments. Even this thinking, this national thinking, it was more criticized. It is, let's say, coming from the past. Many Germans, local communities, thought drafting through very early. France was not that successful. The national idea of integration that incorporated homogeneity did not bear fruit. Also, the Germans are more critical to patriotism and the feeling of national identity, and that is one of the reasons integration worked better. The German model is therefore happening at a community level. It is decentralized. So, let's say, or even if you look at the football, Germany has been in the world champion mastership with a half of the people have an immigrant background. They are proud to win a World Cup, but with diversity. So it means these are the good examples. Migration is also addressing the question to have not been a topic for a long time, for example, social housing and women's rights, gender equality. Equality. Yes, the situation is working as a catalyst. I mean, some questions, long time we didn't have anymore in Germany, like the rights of the woman. It's quite normal. But now, under the topic of the refugee, it's on the top again. That means the society fights again for the rights for the woman, but before it wasn't.
Well, let's say for a long time there was no debate on such things because they were thought like, okay, it's common sense, but also in fact it was on one point it was clear that it's somehow outdated also. No, this it's not. It wasn't that clear anymore, and so now we have a lot of debates which are really refreshing also the national
the society topics.
The society,
and this is quite. We feel it as positive. Even the social housing. Long time we didn't have a discussion about social housing. We don't build any more social housing. Gentrification was the topic, but not build social housing. And now it's coming even the new understanding, new political vision to rebuild intelligent social housing, together with the skills of the refugees what come, together to build a kind of new city, new society. It's quite fresh, contemporary discussion.
Yeah, I would say now it's then the point to go then to Oberhausen. I show you where it is. It's very close to Düsseldorf, Essen, Dortmund, close to the border to the Netherlands, and it's in the Ruhr Valley. It used to be a very industrialized and heavy industry region, but in the last decades, it's in fact like really the poorest region of Germany, with the highest debt per capita ever. And Oberhausen, which is 2,010 inhabitants, has now to tackle this. To face the situation, and so our administration prepared some presentation. So with some facts and numbers. So here we see the development of asylum seekers. We have also this, like in Italy, this three possible situation, or so there is well, we have this accommodation as temporary reception centers, which is that for the very urgent first 3 months. Then we have reception centers in mostly in the cities where apartments are hard to find, and also for the period before private accommodation is found. And you can see here on this we have 2,800 asylum seekers who will stay in Oberhausen. 800, about 800. They are just for this short period in Oberhausen. And from this 2,800, 1,700 are in private accommodation. So
yeah, we are really proud of our municipality.
Yeah.
They're doing a really, really good job. Altogether, to bring the half part, or let's say, in this kind of municipality, the half part in 1,700 in private accommodations, it is a huge task to do.
And so they do it like a task force now for the municipality hires people to actively search the market for higher apartments. And it's definitely the best way to also for the next steps and for integration and for the people that the refugees have then contacts with the neighbors, and the contacts are much easier than if you are in a huge camp. No?
But not for all. We discovered that not for all refugees or let's say newcomers are this the best way, because somebody of them need a bigger community in the beginning. This kind of, because when they go too fast in a private apartment, they are not connected, they don't have this kind of help, they are not so quickly connected with the other. So sometimes some of them, they need even a bigger community where each other help the other. So this is our experience. It is good to be in private situation, but in the beginning, when a country is strange, what are the rules, what are the tasks? So if you have a kind of community with who you can ask, even in the kind of the same language, because when we speak Arab and probably you are in a private situation, who you ask? So it is good to have on the beginning a kind of, let's say, community where you can share your needs.
So the numbers of people in shared accommodation is decreasing, in fact, and here is a map of Oberhausen, and which shows, in fact, all the shared accommodations. So which sometimes the one which are crossed, they used to be sport facilities, no, for a few months in use. Or there's also even one church who wasn't in use anymore and was used, but only for a very short period. And we have also this in the region this topic of that the society is getting elder and elder, no? And this influx of refugees also, it's improved somehow the situation for services in the city. So there were a lot of schools who should be closed, and now and also for the neighbors, for the German neighbors, they would then have to take much longer ways, for instance. And so this is like also one opportunity in this for the municipality to improve the services. Yeah, this is something we have. These are the quotas for Germany. So it works like this, that there's a quota called Königsteiner Schlüssel, and with this, the region is the asylum seekers are spread to Germany, and then from the regions in Germany to the municipalities, which means for Oberhausen then with 1,200,000 refugees coming to Germany, and in the end there will be like 2,800 coming to Oberhausen. So these are quotas, and no municipality can avoid it. So although in some regions, as I thought, like in Eastern Germany, the opposition to this was much higher.
Because they are missing the experience, and they are missing, let's say, they don't have to say, okay, we really will bring them in or not, so this was a kind of equal distribution, and they don't have this experience in advance before, and even in Italian exists this saying, il cane morde sempre quello che si veste in stracci. The dog eats always this who are not in the best condition, let's say, like this, and this means they are. This is easier to be afraid and angry against the last. They are deeper than themselves. So it's
yeah, well, maybe we can skip or maybe shorten this topic a little bit, because it's what I told, in fact, so it's like the 3 steps from arrival to and then to distribution, then to Germany, but I already said this. And this is only just one very short hint, which I cannot go deeper because it's somehow we are not really in charge with this, but we know it exists. The region, for instance, they made a big effort and programs to also to encourage private housing companies or private investors to build houses and accommodations. So if you have the opportunity, you can ask for a loan which is on very good conditions, and until I don't know, until 30% you don't need to pay back and things like that. So
investment helping
yeah.
in reconstruct the buildings. So it means under the topic new ideas for old buildings, it is even interesting how we can use old buildings or empty buildings in the middle-sized cities. Not in the big city, they have another problem, but all the middle-sized cities, it's confronting the same problem. They have empty buildings, they have, let's say, young people leave the size, how we can attract it. Probably it is, even in Italian exists a fantastic example where one municipality was quite empty, and the mayor Domenico decides to bring refugees in, and then the school was open, and children was again playing and in the school. But it's not, so it is a kind of other good examples what still works.
And beside of accommodation, what the municipality has to provide, there are also this integrated programs for learning German, and also for gaining again the ability to work, and okay, and now
we are to us. Okay. Okay. Let's say how we come to Oberhausen. Agnieszka, you were originally from Poland. I am from Italy, but we were studying in Berlin. And okay, but we was coming in the rural region, and had discovered this tower, this main station tower, still running main station, ICE main station. It's like where holds the French in Italy, or the fast trains. It's the first station after Netherlands, and it is in the middle of the road, and they use this tower once with huge water tanks to fill the drains. There are water tanks on the top, the drains for the industrial need, because they build industrial around. We find this last floors empty, and we, like architect and creative, we said, okay, we want to rebuild this, and we was trying to do this, but the city was not able to get the money, so we do it, our contribution by engagement, and so now we have this tower in use for the next 20 years. How we come in there, let's say the clocks, it didn't work for like 15 years. The symbol was you come in the city and the time was very still, so we fixed these clocks without any public money, and have found the foundation to reconstruct the tower. And yeah, the citizens are really proud of us, and they write us good in here, thank you that you fixed the clock, thank you that you do these things. And so we reconstruct now the tower, and there we have international workshops, colleagues, and let's say we make new programs. But after the last years, we said, okay, now we have another task to work on it, and this is the refugee field, and we start some project, important project with the refugees. And we was asked, speaking with experts, let's say refugees, they are a long time here, what is the important thing? The important thing is that we don't talk about refugees, that we don't do something for them, that we try to do it together. So this was our first task, that we say, okay, that's what we want to do it together. Not for them or something exclusive, that we do it together. And we said, okay, what is quite posh now? It is let's make a food truck together, but not a simple one. Let's do it from planning and everything from the beginning from scratch on together. And so there, what we see here, there is some sit bags. What we do here, plants the food truck together, and by the food truck with inner hands, we cook together and discuss how we can do it. And then we presented our concept by the refugees, and we invite them to be part. And we go in still running huge industrial Babcock enterprise. We ask them if we can do this project with the refugees there inside in their own halls. So they said, yeah, they have the worker mentality. They said, yeah, it's a kind of study. Sure, now sure you can come in. Work is always good. So we had they give us a huge space where we could work on our food truck, and we said the food truck must we built this container from the beginning on, and so we doing this in this original, let's say, rough rural situation, to go in their original traditional spirit of workers, and to do this now with the refugees. So, yeah.
And then in the field of also spreading the ideas and finding better solutions. No, we are working on a project together with EPOP, and also with Finland, and there will be this conference about all these topics in our house and in this period.
And we want to invite you to come there. Thank you.
I'm sure we have a lot of questions, but I would now like to first of all, of course, fund all this, but then, and of course, all the practical stuff. But first, I would like to invite you to the coffee break now. And after the coffee break, we have the presentation of the Italian cases, of the other Italian cases, and of course, then the discussion, the key part of the. So thanks for the presentation for now, and looking forward to the second.